Hello, everyone, and welcome to another week here at Celestia Radio. And yeah, I'm here as usual. It's Matt with Matt and Dalit.
Hello, g'day everyone.
Hey,
This week, like 3-4 days ago, as of this recording, a new game came out. A game that we had heard about and had been told about roughly a year ago now.
maybe even more than that. If I'm honest, it's been in the cycle for a bit.
But it was like
Has it?
before early access release, it was I don't want to say announced, but there was a trailer for it in TGA.
There's been a bunch of trailers.
Yeah,
There was a trailer at TGA and SGF.
yeah.
But I don't know if it was how long before that it was actually like announced.
Oh god. Yeah, I would say a couple years.
Well, the game we're talking about is a lovely little game that I'm sure you've heard about if you've been on the internet recently,
Yeah.
especially by the time this episode comes out. It's a game called Palworld.
Hey, there it is.
Yeah,
Palmon.
it's not Palmon.
No, don't do that because I do that still, and I confuse myself.
Are we talking about Paimon?
No, that's Genshin Impact. Wow, there are too many things that use Mon. Huh?
Yeah, yeah. I'm really happy they didn't use Mon.
Are we talking about Digimon Digital Adventure 2?
That's the power.
No, but that's a good one. Well, I mean, anytime you have something that ends in Mon, it is usually Digimon. Because
True.
Pokemon don't actually use Mon in their name.
They were very clever about
That's
that.
true. Oh yeah.
I don't.
Angel Woolmon, Love Heart, Rainamon, Love Heart, best girls.
It's weird. Pokemon is called Pokemon, and that's the English name they went with because it was originally Pocket Monsters. But none of them actually have Mon in their name. But I'm curious why they chose Pokemon, because at that point Digimon existed and all of them had Mon in their name. So I don't. That's kind of weird to me, and maybe I should look up the history to that before
I don't think Mon is patented by whatever makes Digimon, so I think it's free.
No,
game,
it's just the name.
Definitely do think
it's just the naming convention.
Yeah.
It's a shortening of monster because Pocket Monsters, Pokemon,
just so,
and that's just combining. And then Digimon, Digital Monsters. That's what it is. I know I'm going to get a lengthy explanation and history of this in my DMs once this episode goes live, though, I'm sure. Because you, one listener out there who's listening, you know who you are. I'm expecting you to tell me all of this that I need to know.
Go on, say its name. Say it. Name drop him.
I'm not. It's not. Nope.
Name drop them.
Regardless, irrelevant. We're talking about Palworld.
Yes.
So, to start this discussion, I will background how this became the topic of discussion for this episode, because it was not originally the topic of discussion for this episode.
You know, no one was playing it last week when we were thinking about what we were going to talk about.
It's true.
Sure.
So you see, this game, we knew it was coming out. And Matt here, that's me, had zero interest in this game. Absolutely no interest, could not care less. It literally less than nothing to me.
And then Nat came along.
Well, the game was marketed, and I don't know if like the company marketed it or literally everybody around it marketed it this way, as Pokemon with guns.
Yeah.
That's definitely a bit of both. The trailers definitely do.
I disagree.
Like,
I do not think at any point the company ever marketed it as Pokemon with guns, because that is grounds for a lawsuit, and they would want to stay well and truly away from that. However, to your point, they always did a very poor job of linking in the crafting and survival aspects, which might actually be where this game thrives the most.
True.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was marketed as Pokemon with guns. Maybe not by them.
No, but by everyone else, absolutely.
But yeah, but their trailers didn't help it seem as anything other than that.
Sure.
The presenters, when it was on stage, didn't help it seem like it was anything other than that. And sure as heck, none of the viewers, fans, and people looking forward to it
Yeah,
saw it as anything other than that.
100%.
This meant nothing to me because I grew up on Pokemon. I love Pokemon, but it's gotten to where the games just don't do a lot for me.
Agreed.
I love the games. I love the series. Like I've even picked up I think the last 3 generations of games, and they're still sitting on my shelf. I haven't played them because I don't have that drive to play them. I blame that partly on Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon killed the series for me in a lot of ways. Even though the subsequent games were better, it
Sun
fixed
and Moon.
a lot of my issues with Sun and Moon. But that's neither here nor there. The damage was done, I say. But like I said, I've been picking them up and I want to get back into it. I haven't. So my interest in Pokemon is very mildly, right?
Waning.
Yeah. It's not really there.
Up and
And then it was
down.
just like Pokemon with guns. And I'm like, why? What's the point in that? I don't get it. Why is that so interesting? So it meant nothing to me. Well, now, as Nat said, Nat came into the picture. I think it was last week for us when we
Yeah.
were sitting around chatting. He mentioned how it was similar to Ark, which is a very, very apt comparison in the crafting system, by the way. Like that is
Yeah, no, it's
really-
absolutely just Ark. This is true.
yeah, like there's a lot of inspiration there.
Yeah.
And I raised an eyebrow like, Ark? Really? What? And then Dalit
Yep.
enforced that. Like,
Mhm.
yep,
Mhm.
it's a crafting. And I'm just like, okay, I'm curious. So when the game came out a few days ago, and as I'm sure all of you listeners know, or anybody that watches Twitch or YouTube or any streamers or whatever, that's all everybody is streaming and playing right now.
Facts.
Except for me, because I'm poor.
So naturally, somebody I had up in the background while I'm doing work or whatever was playing Palworld. Normally, in this situation where somebody plays a game I don't like, it's background noise. Pay no attention. But I was curious. And sure enough, after just a little while of watching, I'm like, holy crap, this looks really interesting and pretty good. And I want to play this. This looks entertaining. Because as I said in our upcoming games episode, when I was talking about Light No Fire, I love survival build games. I love it. They're very enjoyable for me, relaxing, great, kill time, turn off your brain games. Very much enjoy those.
Yep.
So my attention was like, okay, I want to play this. I want to try it. And I was like, all right, so I'm going to have to wait and pick it up or whatever. And then earlier today, a friend just happened to be like, hey, Matt, here you go. Threw me a copy of the game, and now I have the game. So I'm going to be playing it this week soon. But yeah, it did spark a discussion with us because we all have different thoughts and opinions. Nat's being mostly, he's upset that he can't play it.
Actually, hey, why don't you just go into full detail? Why don't you lead off on this one?
Who, me?
Yeah, you. Just general thoughts.
Yeah, tell us what you think of the game, Nat. Tell us what you think of the game.
My thoughts are, obviously it's a good game. It looks fun. But I personally have not played it, so I'm only basing this off what I have seen
Right.
through streams and all that. So it's going to be a little bit hard for me to do like little nitpicks and all that. But there has been a few bugs that's kind of like game breaking. Like
Well, don't worry with what
if
you
you fall
can't
through
test.
the
Like just looking at it, what are your thoughts? What are your hopes for it? Because me and Matthew have it. We can yay or nay whether this game succeeds in that front. I'm curious about when seeing this game and when hearing the buzz around it, what your thoughts were.
my thoughts was I'm very much in the corner of I don't care, it looks good,
Mhm.
and I want to play it myself.
Yeah.
That's pretty much my general thoughts on the game. It does scratch that like weird Pokemon itch. Again, I have not played it, but from what I've seen, like it very much could be, like a game I would enjoy. It's like I don't. I wouldn't say there's like much to it other than that. Like I just don't care about the controversies of it, and I just say that like it's a good game. Now that being said, though, now surely you guys will agree with me. Like, despite your personal opinions and thoughts on the controversies with the AI and all that stuff, right? You would agree with me that selling 1 million copies in 8 fucking hours is insane, right?
That's incredibly insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I did a retweet on them. When they announced 3 million copies, they've recently done a 4 million copy tweet.
I think they're
right?
actually up to 5.
Are they up
They're
to
up
5
to,
now?
I think, like 5 now, and there's over 1 million active players on Steam at the
Yeah.
moment.
Holy. Right. Well, I think it's very impressive that 1 million copies in 8 hours is huge. 2 million in 20 hours, and then 3 million in 40 hours. That is fucking insane. Do you know how that, like, those numbers for a non-triple A company is fucking insane. I don't know the
Those numbers are
num-
pretty insane for some
they are-
AAA companies.
Yeah, well, that
Yeah,
as well.
depending
That's
on
the
what
thing.
you're
But
depending on
like,
what you're putting out, sure.
but like, I'm like semi comparing it to like Pokemon sales, right? 'Cause
I wouldn't do
apparently,
that.
like,
Nah, I wouldn't do that.
well, see,
Pokemon's gonna stomp them pretty hard with like 10 million in the first 2 days of
Well,
those
Pokemon
games
stomps
coming out.
almost everything pretty
Yeah,
hard.
like
so
that. It's an
But-
unfavorable comparison.
it is unfavorable, but like, it's more so like it's not so much like a complete like direct like clash between them. It's more so non AAA Pokemon esque clone numbers versus like obviously mainline Pokemon, right? And seeing like the two numbers being next to each other, and it makes you go, is what Palworld is what Pokemon players want, and especially the direction that they want Pokemon to go into, sort of thing.
Even on the points that we do not agree with, you make no points that I don't think are not valid. Like they're really solid. Like this is what I think
Right.
most people feel towards this game right now.
Yep.
It's certainly something, it seems like you were saying, that's something most people agree with. Yeah, most people seem to, for the most part, agree this is kind of what they wanted out of Pokemon for a while. And, I keep hearing that and seeing that. I'm not exactly sure I follow. Like, so they want to run around and catch Pokemon and battle
So
Pokemon.
I can
But it's like,
I can validate
isn't
what
that
they
what the
mean.
last one did?
So no. What makes this different is that it's about more than just the battling. All of your issues can't be fixed with, and then I threw my Pokemon at it. Or at least, and then I had my Pokemon use one of their moves. Because this is a survival and a crafting game, this adds 2 unique puzzle types to be solved, right? And your Pokemon do, well, let's not call them Pokemon. That's going to cause problems. And your monsters do factor into that, but in ways that aren't just battling. Now you are actually living in a world where the monsters do have an impact, and it's not just on paper. It's not just because an NPC said so.
Yeah, and like, just a quick
It
example.
makes it pretty apparent.
Quick example, like, this does not involve like the crafting. This involves the exploration. You can use your fire Pokemon and be able to see whether it's in nighttime or in a dark cave while also
Sure.
having a torch out.
Yeah.
That affects the environment of the game. Fucking that shit does not happen in Pokemon. You know what happens in Pokemon? You teach Pikachu to move fucking Flash, and it lights up like 2 caves.
And then you have
out of the
global
entire fucking game.
illumination. Yeah.
Yeah. So that, like, just that simple fact that your fire Pokemon can help you with exploration is like, it's great. Like, it just makes it feel like now I'm doing what you said. I'm calling them Pokemon. The monsters that you are using actually affect your environment, which
Yeah.
is great.
They are important outside of battle, and their puzzle solving
Yes.
features aren't just used rock smash from Pokeball.
Yeah.
So it sounds in like a lot of ways that, and this is from an outside perspective looking in on
Sure.
Pokemon at least. It sounds like things that people have been wanting from Pokemon, and that Pokemon has been slowly working their way towards
So they did
in ways over the last few iterations and trying to get there too. Because now they've done the open world, now they've done the
I wonder.
exploring and everything. They feels like they've slowly been trying to work towards what people have been wanting.
Yeah.
This game has just gone and done all of it at once.
Yeah, maybe. I think we're going to have a bit of a difference of opinion on whether the Pokemon Company is actually moving in that direction.
I mean,
I haven't played the games, so I can't give an educated opinion to that. I can only speak to what I've observed, even though I own them. They're right here behind me on the shelf.
I played
them.
I played Sword and Scarlet.
Right.
I didn't do any of the post-game stuff. I just got through the story, and it was disappointing both times. Because whilst there is an open world now, it doesn't matter. It just means that there's no more random. It just means that there's no more random battles. Now you get to choose which battles, which is great.
It is great. It's great for effort value farming. Just for
yes. But in terms of giving people a reason to exist in that world long term, if you aren't excited doing what you've been doing for the last 9 generations, at least I think it's 9.
Yes.
Well, X and Y was 6. Sun and Moon is 7. After Sun and Moon was Sword and Shield.
Yep. So yeah, 9.
8. So 9. Yeah.
If you're not excited doing what you've always done in Pokemon, there is very little reason to get the new one unless you absolutely have to have like one of the little critters on the box. What makes Palworld interesting is it's not just an RPG, right? Which is, at the end of the day, it's all the Pokemon is. It's a linear RPG where you go to gym to gym, and those are your boss battles, and you get to the end, and that's the story, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And then on the side you collect them all, but not everyone really feels the need to do that.
Yeah.
This game, just by virtue of being a survival game, immediately makes it way more deep because of the survival aspects, just because of the nature of the game.
Yeah.
And because Pokemon can fulfill certain aspects of that, light, heat, cold, and building, it immediately makes it a more an overall bigger experience. Like it is now a world. It's not just a line that you're on. And I genuinely think the genres make the biggest difference.
Oh no, absolutely.
Yeah, genres make a huge difference.
Like just by existing in multiple genres, it allows itself to do more without doing anything extra. And that's the big deal. And that's why I fundamentally disagree that Pokemon wants to do that, because Pokemon doesn't want to be anything more than what it is.
That's fair. Pokemon doesn't want to not be an RPG.
Exactly.
But I feel like they are trying to be an RPG that gives more of what the player wants in a way that while still being an RPG.
Yeah, and the open world was certainly a big step in that direction, because just by virtue of not having to randomly run around in tall grass in order to get to the crux of the gameplay, that's already great. And having areas like Area Zero, won't go into detail on that, also fantastic.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm sure Pokemon fans don't actually want Pikachu to pick up a Glock and go ham on some people. Though some might, and that's I guess that's your taste, but I think your general Pokemon fan doesn't actually want that.
No, and I agree. I genuinely think that the guns are the weakest aspect of this game.
Well, that's the thing. The guns are like, I think that technically end game, because when you first start off, it's literally a wooden spear, and
you can get a gun in like 6 hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's just tied to your level. That's all it is.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah. You don't have to do anything in the world. You just have to level up your base.
Okay, that's fair. But still, like, it is. You don't just start off with a Glock.
No.
Or
No,
a
and a matter of
fucking
fact,
brownie.
to your
Right.
point, I don't have one yet. I'm still working on a 3-prong bow. I have access to crossbows and such, but I'm getting by just fine with my pointy stick and my
And
my bow.
your Mon. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I'm actually a little afraid to use my Mons at the moment because they will absolutely stomp everything else around them in the zone I am in at the moment.
Oh, you're overleveled.
So he's
kind of.
going the old school method of he fights the beasts with his hands.
Yeah, which feels wrong if you think about it like a Pokemon game, but immediately feels so much better when you realize, yeah, no, what you are is a means to get these things that I need for my base.
It does. Like in all of my watching of this
I mean,
game,
they're
right?
wild monsters. The wild animals. They'll
I mean,
fuck
yeah, I
you
guess.
up.
But like, yeah, they will wreck your face and not think twice about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
But it's really weird because some of them have that really cutesy Pokemon design to them, right?
Yes.
And seeing somebody run up with the spear and just be like, oh, it's just really off-putting.
Yeah,
on
running
so
up to
many
that
levels.
little Wooloo with my spear and stabbing it
Watermelon.
repeatedly didn't feel great, but it did get me the wool that I needed.
Yeah.
So I suddenly had clothes.
I will say that people are like, they like that the pals in Palworld are actually contribute something to the world, like, you know, food
Yeah.
and wool and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yep.
I will tell those people that Pokemon do
Absolutely do
the
that.
same thing.
Absolutely do that.
It's just you don't see it.
And
anybody
therein
who
lies
actually
the big difference.
like therein lies the big difference, definitely. But it's not hidden information in
No,
Pokemon.
we know about this.
You read anything, it's there. They kill Miltanks for meat. That is a very common fact.
If you read the Pokemon
As weird as it is,
manga,
the ice cream Pokemon is considered some of the best ice cream you can get. So it's
Hey, look, man, Farfetch'd are almost extinct because they taste that good.
yeah, like it's very much a thing. Pokemon just doesn't put it up in the front because originally
also,
it was intended as a children's game.
Yeah.
and also Marine and fucking Pokemon and all that.
I think, let's not. Let's just not.
Japanese Gen 4, man. There's some wild shit in there. But yeah,
Oh, now I lost what I was gonna say now. Oh man.
but yeah, if you read the Pokemon manga, there's blood and dismemberment and shit in that. So you know,
Oh, stuff gets wild.
yeah.
But this is the point, right? And like I'm gonna keep harking back on this, because it's a children's game, which I still think is a mistake. By the way,
Oh, absolutely.
And I'll get into that in a little bit when I talk about the flaws of both of these games side by side. But because it's treated as a children's game, they do have to hide like a lot of ideas that they've already had. Like read any Ghost entry, that's dark. And B,
there's so many dark
Oh,
Pokemon
yeah.
entries. It's crazy.
Drifloon.
and they just don't go into the detail they could because that takes time, and we want people to be able to get through the game. If you want it, you can look for it and find it, but they're never going
Which
to
I'm not.
bring it out and do anything with it because it's not important.
Yeah.
The whole purpose.
Guys, Epiphany. Epiphany.
Go on.
Okay.
The game that Pokemon fans really want, hear me out,
Yeah.
is Pokemon Dark Souls. That's the game that Pokemon fans really want. Because then you get all the dark lore. It's all there. You gotta save the kids from the Drifloons.
Oh my
and
goodness.
catch them.
Oh, it would be wild.
You know what's funny? That was actually a side mission in Legends of Arceus. Legends of Arceus. Legends of
was it?
Arceus. There we go.
Yeah, I didn't play that one, so
Yeah,
fair
well,
play.
it was kind of funny.
Anyways, to your point, that was just the Epiphany tangent I had to throw in there.
Hilarious.
I was like,
hilarious.
thank you. I'm glad you appreciated it. I hope somebody out there appreciates it.
But yeah, Matthew, you've had a couple of hours with it. Like, what are your overall thoughts with what you've played so far? If you've actually
haven't
even turned
actually-
it on.
No, I haven't got to play it.
Okay.
But I have watched an extensive amount of gameplay. And just from what I've seen is, well, as far as like a survival game goes, heck yeah, this
Yeah.
looks great.
Yeah.
No, like and the survival building games it looks really good. I would like to see some of the to the further end of what some of the like actual buildings you can build look like, because I haven't seen much in that regard.
Right.
And how like and how creative you can get with that. Because that's always something with building games that I really enjoy, is like how creative can you get with the actual building of, you know, the buildings and
Yeah.
the survival and things. And you can get I think Ark is at a point where you can do some interesting stuff now. I remember I think early on it did not have a huge creativity in what you could build or in that regard, but I may be misremembering that and mixing it up with something else.
Sure.
Just quickly, I will say temper yourself on that, Matthew, because this is technically early access and not official release.
I'm going to be honest. You have access to wood, stone, and metal. You can make some pretty nice looking stuff. It's all going to be kind of squared. You can get some softer turns, but you can get some pretty nice looking stuff. Okay. It just requires a lot of.
I look forward to seeing it all. All I've really seen is just basically the most advanced like structure I've seen somebody build. Is just a really nice little like wood cabin.
Yeah,
it looks really good.
Yeah,
it looks really good, and I was like, okay, that's cool. But I mean, the appeal to a lot of games like this, like Valheim and things like that, and is getting creative with what you can build for your base and things like that. So that's one of the things I really enjoy and things I go into this looking for. But aside from that, I've seen a huge variety of pals, and I'll admit I was surprised. Like there is an impressive variety.
I think the number I saw was like 115.
115.
It's pretty good.
It's a good chunk.
It is, okay.
And some of those designs are pretty top notch.
I don't even know if necessarily that number that I saw was the last one or just as far as I could see. But yeah, they have a healthy variety for you.
Are they going to pull a Mewtwo and Mew and be like, hey, there's actually like 2 secret monsters that are not in the PAL decks?
Maybe. There's a whole story mode to this game that I haven't even done anything with yet.
Yeah, technically. Now, I do have a quip about the designs, but I'll come back around to that when we get to that point in the conversation. But nice designs, nice variety. Everything I've seen just makes it look like a really well-polished and enjoyable version of Ark. But like I said earlier, Nat's, comparison was spot on when he told me that originally. It looks like a really well-polished and enjoyable version of Ark, but replace the dinosaurs with these pals.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And the fact that they help with the building and things like that, which is really cool.
Yeah.
My favorite
seems
part.
In a lot of ways, it seems a lot of ways from watching it it's fairly speedy too in terms of like progression because you have those pals helping do things and gathering things. It takes out a little bit of the monotony of like in Minecraft when you need all of this stone to build this castle. If you want to build a castle, you got to mine it all yourself, right?
Or quarry it if you mod it. But
that's really nice. Seeing that it just looks like a really good survival game with a lot of really decent, I guess you would call it, quality of life things that you would want from the go.
Yeah, good foundations for the game, which is nice.
And that's kind of the takeaway from mostly from what I've watched, all the hours I've watched. The gameplay does look fun. The combat looks fairly enjoyable, if a little simplistic at times, but fairly enjoyable. There are some like dungeon-esque things to explore, and so that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
There is a little bit of adventuring to do, which is more to do. There is bosses in terms of like the dungeons. I'm not too sure, but I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
But there are also open world bosses. There's enemy NPC factions. There's raids on your base.
Yes, there are.
Yep.
Wild.
We literally just lost our house to that.
Lamau.
It was wild if you get one of those early on and you are wholly underprepared, because you will die, stuff will destroy, you will respawn at your base, raid still going on, you will continue to die. So,
and you can capture humans as well.
It's just a mess in that regard, but not a mess in a bad way.
No, true.
It's chaotic, which is good.
Yeah, it's an enjoyable chaos.
Yeah,
I guess you could call
because
it.
You'll be exploring, you'll be like exploring new environments, terrains, and all that. And you're like, oh shit, I'm like one. I don't know what the weight system, but I'm like one weight off being, over encumbered. Gotta go back to my base, and then boom, there's just a fucking raid happening, and you're just like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great.
I mean, and to something you said, the environments, the variety of environments is nice, more than I would have
surprising.
expected, honestly.
I thought it was going to be
Um,
procedurally generated.
I
Yeah.
thought so as well.
And I think that there are procedural generation aspects to some of it, maybe. But by and large, the overall map is they have planned out certain aspects of it, if
Oh,
not
yeah,
everything.
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the number of environments really nice, more than I expected.
Hmm.
The overall just look of the environments, the map and stuff is, it's a nice design. I like it.
I think it's UE. I think it's UE5. Yeah.
Yep. It's
I
the
mean,
engine
it's
doing its
UE5.
job.
To note, Arc did just release a new version of itself, remade in Unreal Engine 5.
UE5.
And
yeah.
it looks
Great.
It looks pretty sick.
It looks great.
Seeing the giant dinos in Unreal 5, and yeah, it's just cool. Anyways,
Yeah, UE5.
so and then because it is a bigger map, they took that into account, and they kept they made a fast travel system for you,
Mhm.
like right off the bat. It's easy to access.
Thank God.
You don't even really
They
have to
took something
build.
from Genshin Impact and did it good.
You don't have to build into the fast travel. It's just there from go.
It is. I'm super thankful for that.
So yeah, honestly, it seems like a good game. A lot of conveniences already in place. I wish I had got to play it some before this. And like I said at the top of the episode, for our listeners, this was kind of a spot of the moment. We decided we're going to talk about this
Yeah.
because we started having this conversation beforehand. So we're like, you know what, let's talk about it. Otherwise, I had some time and I could have jumped into it. So
I mean,
I did
just
not
play while record. Fuck it.
I have full intentions of jumping into it this week on stream at some point. So if any of our listeners do follow me on Twitch, they'll see me streaming it, and you can probably get some of my thoughts there. And who knows, by the time this episode comes out, I might still be streaming it a little bit and playing it. Who
Right.
knows how long my enjoyment for it will last. So you might be able to come by and ask me then. I mean, you can come by and ask me then, even if I'm not playing it, right? But yeah, no, I have a lot of good impressions from everything I've seen, and I have seen a very considerable bit. I've seen, the beginning process, and I've seen some people that are playing in the, I don't want to call it in game because I don't know for sure it's in game, but in the later process who, were flying around instead of just riding around,
Right.
and
Okay.
exploring some of the quote unquote more treacherous areas.
Right.
So yeah, I've seen a decent variety, and it looks like, for the most part, it looks good. It looks enjoyable. It looks like, they did a survival game right from the go, and really from here all it can be is improved.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But Dolly, you've actually played it.
I have.
So from somebody who's actually played it, and
My opinions don't matter.
Technically speaking, neither do mine. I haven't played it.
But yes, go on.
I've known about this game for a while. The developers of this spoke to us on the other podcast on Perpetual Backlog about it when we briefly covered it during one of the Game Awards. Or not the Game Awards, one of the game shows. So I've been aware of this game for a while. However, I was one of the people of the mindset that this looks iffy. This looks like it could be an asset flip. This could look like it could. Sorry, this looks like it could be a really low effort type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I didn't really give it any mind. Flash forward ahead to this year, I looked up who they were, right? And we found out these are the Craftopia people. Not the same exact team, but the same company.
Okay.
I didn't play Craftopia, but I did look them up on Steam. I looked them up on what people were feeling about them. Turns out, super competent game. Biggest issue is it's currently still in early access, and people just want more. Good issue to have.
very good issue to have.
Yeah, but like you all, I didn't really see the crafting in it in the various trailers. So,
Oh, okay.
despite I still stand by this, despite the company never saying and never putting forward the idea of Pokemon with guns, as a matter of fact, vehemently pointing out and saying, no, don't compare us to Pokemon. I also saw it as Pokemon with guns. I did. Just because it's what it was, right? But I knew that clearly they had other plans for it.
Right.
So a couple of days before the game drops, I finally see someone who's been in early access with it for a while now, 100 hours in. It's like, oh, fantastic. And I took a look-see at it, and I immediately realized I'd made a mistake.
Uh-oh.
Because what I saw was a fully functional base with multiple conveyor belts of stuff being automated. It looked amazing.
Right.
So
Sounds really cool. I would like to see.
yeah, so it's like, so this game's gonna be on Game Pass.
Oh,
I own
10
Game
bucks.
Pass.
Yeah.
I pay my $10 fee every month. Yeah, I'll check it out. And I did, and you'll have pretty much nailed it on the head. This is Ark, for good and for bad. This is Ark with useful monsters. And when I say useful, I mean incredibly useful. Whether you hunt them, whether you capture them, whether you put them to work, or whether you take them with you to do more exploring. This is amazing. I'm going to have many negative things to say about this game going forward, but I want everyone to understand this is an incredibly fun game with an incredibly fun loop and is so good at what it does.
It's so good, he's tempted to buy it on Steam so he can actually play with his friends.
Yeah, I genuinely am. So yeah, I've kicked around with it for a little while. Like everyone, I enjoy the monster designs. I think
How
they're
many
fucking
work slaves do you
adorable.
have?
God, I don't know. I haven't been keeping count, my guy. I have too many.
Good answer.
Because it encourages you to catch multiple of the same in multiple periods,
Yep.
because that does give you experience.
Yeah, it generally is saying capture 10 of everything. You don't have to keep them, but capture 10 of everything. This is part of how you will get experience to move on. Which works really well for me, not because I'm in love with Pokemon, but because I took the Breath of the Wild approach to this. I was most interested with the map.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I've been legging it about. I have walked, I have run, I have climbed, I have glided, I have mounted, and I have flown.
Okay.
I think I can even swim if I choose to, but I haven't made it yet. There is so much content just because this world exists. And again, because it's a survival game, right? By existing in it, you are interacting with the game.
Yep.
I really like it. And I have my own file where I have my group of, I don't know, probably 100 or so mons. Not all of them different, just like 100 in general. I can only have 9 working on any base at any given time. And I have set up my own little personal fortified area. And once that was set up, I've just liked it. I've just been exploring. It's been interesting because the world is dangerous.
Well, that's good to hear.
Oh yeah, very much so. And yeah, it is very good to hear.
It's interesting playing this multiplayer because I've also popped in on a friend's multiplayer server and we've been doing stuff, and like nothing changes and yet it feels real different.
Right.
I'll say to that note, we do have a friend that is looking and in the process of, if I'm not mistaken, setting up a dedicated server.
Yeah.
For a bunch of us to be able to play on, so
yeah,
we might be able to do that.
My only gripe isn't a gripe, it makes sense, but it has been really irritating. Obviously you can't get on the server unless the host is there. That's fine. That's a problem with every server-based game. It's fine. It's fine.
That's
yeah.
Unless you have a dedicated server, which is, like I said, we have a friend trying to set up.
Now, the reason why this is a little bit of an issue to me is because if I can't get on Without them, and I can't get on
can't
before they get
progress.
on, they're always going to be ahead of me.
Yep. You can't progress, and
Just how
that's
it goes.
Yep.
And I work and I do all this stuff, so they're in their level. They're like level 30, almost 40, and I'm level
Holy.
19.
Oh, damn.
So there's that, which I'm not in love with, but I don't think it can really be helped. And if that's my biggest gripe, this is the best issue to have.
For real. And like I've said multiple times in the last couple minutes, it's something that's solved with a dedicated server.
100%.
And something you can do with the game.
Yeah.
Like, so we have it being set up, so like that is an option available to us. It may not necessarily be an option available to everybody out there, but
True.
the option does exist. I don't know exactly the details to go into how you do that, setting that up and whatnot, but the option does exist, and so I'm sure a lot of people will take that option.
The biggest surprise to me with this game is that I haven't run into any bugs.
Oh, really?
Like, it's
I haven't seen any when I'm watching either that I can think of.
it's surprisingly solid. And I think that one of my negatives is going to cover why. But I've heard people say that they got stuck in places and had to respawn and this, that, and the other. I'm like, yeah, but they had a respawn button. They were prepared for
Yeah.
it. I don't see what the issue is. I haven't seen anything graphically wrong. I haven't seen any like monsters inside out. They occasionally their pathfinding is wonky, but I don't suspect that's an early access thing. I think that's just
That's
a
just AI.
nature of the beast
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, I don't
Mhm.
have a lot to be critical of. That's frustrating because it makes it really hard for my negatives to be taken seriously. Because at the end of the day,
It's a good game, and you know it's
it's a good game. It's well put together and it's fun. And frankly, as a consumer, that's all that matters.
yes,
That is literally all that matters.
yes,
It's what you want when you pick up a game. You want a game that doesn't have like any bugs to barely any bugs to no bugs. It plays smoothly. It's an enjoyable loop or enjoyable once through, depending on the
Right.
type of the game.
Sure.
Everything you just said, really. It's what you want when you
Mhm.
buy a game. Especially since most of the time nowadays, you're for a full price brand new game, you're spending $70.
To be a beta tester.
That's US dollars. Yeah. That's US dollars. Lord forbid.
It's
Nat
40 for
or
me.
Anybody
Okay,
else in
okay, so
Australia
real quick,
is.
uh,
Go ahead.
on the 10% sale that they're doing, it's 40 for me, but full price it's like $45. So it's not too bad. It is still cheaper than a mainline Pokemon, and it's vastly better. That's for goddamn sure.
Yeah. So like I was about to say, it's like a 1.5% or times increase to whatever we're paying. Is roughly what you're paying
Yeah.
for in Australia. And then, price fluctuations in other parts of the world is a little bit more on par. I think Australia has one of the more like vastly different in that scale up.
I think so. Actually, I think they're among the worst outside of places with like actually tanked economies.
Ugh.
Right. So for us, it's normally $70 in the
Right.
States to buy a AAA game or a brand new game, rather, not necessarily a AAA. And you're gonna run into
Mhm.
tons of these issues. You're gonna run into some bugs. You're gonna run into
Graphical glitches,
something
and
that's
all
not
that
super
shit.
enjoyable. You're gonna have something
Falling
that's
through the world,
problematic to
and
you.
all
Yeah, but then you pick up this game, which is in US dollars, it's $30. Right now, it's on sale for 10% off on Steam for like 25. And you don't have any of those issues, and it's enjoyable, and it's literally like Dallas said, it's what you want when you pick up a game.
Yeah, it just is like the only thing that most people care about, because not everyone is like a crazy would-be game journalist, right? Most people only care about, does my $70 get me a game that works start to finish and is fun? That's it.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yep.
100%. 90% of consumers do not care about the background of a game or product, not even just game, of the product they are getting. They just care, does it work, and am I getting what I'm paying?
Just so. And in that regard,
And-
I have nothing negative to say about this.
All right.
Once you get past that, however,
All right. Here we go.
I got some shit to talk about.
Okay.
This is where the
Alright.
problems come in, and why there are some, I'll say, moral issues with this game.
Oh,
to
yeah.
some extent.
Oh, yeah.
So,
There's plenty.
Here we go.
Dala, we're gonna let you lead this one. Go for
Okay,
it.
so look, I'm not an artist. I'm not. I don't art. I can't art. My art is sound.
Mm-hmm.
But I have plenty of artist friends. I have been in relationships with artists. I have backed them. I look out for them because it's A, the right thing to do, and B, they're close to me.
Right.
This game is 1000% using generative AI. And we know this because, what's his name? Takuro Mizobe, who is the CEO of the company, Pocket Pair, is outspoken about it. He openly uses it in his games, and there is absolutely no reason to think that a bunch of Pokemon designs weren't being fed in to make these mons.
Yeah, there is blatant use of AI that seems to be present, and it is like I'm getting a lot of mixed reports on that in some regards, but it feels super present, and I'm pretty sure it has been confirmed.
No,
No,
there
it is
AI
it is
being-
important for us to say there is no confirmation
no.
on this yet.
Okay, there is no confirmation. Thank you. I was not sure because I've seen so many varying
True.
opinions.
Like,
But-
yeah, and the way that
but
people have been
it
arguing about it,
does-
right?
Right. But it doesn't feel good with the thought process that if this is generated by AI when it comes to these designs. Because a lot of these PAL designs look like AI generated
100%.
Pokemon.
Don't get me wrong; they're great.
This-
They're not like fucked up looking things.
No, not like the Pokemon mixer thing.
Yeah,
They're like more legitimate designs. And in fact, I think I saw on Twitter just earlier today, in one of the few moments I had to actually browse Twitter today, that somebody went to one of those things, one of the free AI generation things that you can do to generate Pokemon, and actually got some of the PAL's designs.
yeah, and people have done this before.
And like Dalit, I'm friends with tons of artists. I know so many more artists. Somebody who's super important to me personally is an artist and wanting to do it professionally to some extent. And I don't like the idea of AI taking that from her or any of these artists.
Yeah,
So that's not cool. Don't like that. And I do want to clarify to some extent, because this is one of those things on the internet that you see a
yeah,
lot
it's a
with
rough
AI.
conversation, right?
It is a very rough conversation. My problem is not technically with AI.
Correct.
Because you can do a lot of good things
100%.
in this world with AI, and there's a lot of good things that have been done in the medical field and other areas with AI, and that's fantastic. There are people who can actually live their lives now because of things AI have done for them, and that's amazing. But when it comes to creative content like this, that's where you're crossing some lines, because you're taking jobs from people who spent their life studying to do this, or something with drawing, with art, with and the people have been doing it with voice acting too, which is really messed up in
AI
so many
deepfakes
ways.
and like sound fakes have gotten there too. Yeah, it's important also
Yeah.
to notice, or for me to say this at least, is I don't even have an issue with AI in the art space, in so long as it's regulated correctly. If this were like 6 guys that drew 100 Pokemon and just mashed together their own designs, their own fake mon, and mashed that together, it would be one thing, right? Because then that would be
that's different.
their work that they're now genning. The idea of using this as a tool is not wrong. It's all about the use case. When
Yeah.
if this was their own work, it'd be fine, but this is very clearly, because you can see it in the designs. You can literally see which Pokemon they've used, that they've genned in. Maybe some of their own stuff, but a whole lot of Game Freak, or at least fan art.
Yeah, if it were, like you said, all of their own stuff that they drew the basis for and then had AI generate more of, that's different. That's their own stuff, and then the AI is generating more of their own stuff for them, so they don't have to go through the process. I guess you could say
Sure.
that's one thing. I guess you could say that's just cutting out the middleman to an extent.
Yeah, and that's
Um,
the excuse that gets tossed around is people who just want to cut out the middleman, which in this case is every artist.
yeah, no, see, that's different case scenarios. Like in the excuse people pass around, they're cutting out the artist
Yeah,
entirely. This is artists cutting out extra
this is a
work for
lot of work that
themselves.
they can save by putting a lot of their old stuff,
Right.
and then they still have to do something. They still have to actually
Yeah, they
make the
still draw the
piece.
things that feed into it. Right. So it it's a touchy topic
It's
all the way around,
difficult.
right?
Yeah.
It's very difficult. Um but the AI, like you said, it very clearly seems, if they're using it, like I said, it's not been confirmed. And we need to preface that many times, it's not been confirmed.
Yes. Hugely
That
important.
and we definitely don't want to bash the game or anything like that, because very clearly we
I really
all are very
like
interested and
it.
very much really like it. Um, but it is that concerning thing, because so many of these designs look so similar that to existing Pokemon, the pals look so similar to existing Pokemon that it's hard to think they aren't using AI to some extent. Like there's one, and I have to admit, it's probably one of the coolest and favorite designs I've seen, that looks so much like
Yeah, I
Lucario,
do. It
Yeah.
but
does.
more
It's
Egyptian.
Egyptian Lucario for sure.
Yeah, and I'm just like, heck yes, I'm all here
You know
for
what
it.
the worst part is? I had that exact same response. Like, God damn, this looks sick. I love this. Wait.
Right? Uh, but it's like, you're telling me that wasn't something that an AI just generated, because I can see an AI
Yeah,
just
and
generating
that's
that.
the thing.
And very possibly it couldn't be,
Yeah.
because it could very well be something they drew, and they are just very, very clearly pulling inspiration from somewhere, which is something different. Like, I mean, for a lot of artists out there, you can very clearly see where they pull inspiration from at times.
Yeah.
This is true for manga authors, other like graphical artists for games
Uh,
and things like that. You can see where they'll pull inspiration from in their work, and that's, that's not just art, that's writing and anything creative.
Mm-hmm.
You can sometimes see where inspiration comes from. So that might be the case here, but there are a lot of allegations on the AI
Like,
front
this
going
is my
around,
point. This is my
and that,
point. Like, we can't tell for sure, but I have eyes.
yeah, and that might just because the problem of AI is so prevalent now in this very modern, technologically advanced age we live in, that people are like, hold up, is this AI? And they have to be
Yeah.
that way, because people do that. Even if this company isn't doing that, people have to be critical and they have to look at it. So
And with this being a hugely successful game, and it already is a hugely successful game, it opens up a second issue on top of this. If this goes I don't want to say unpunished, but if they are genning stuff and nothing comes of it, anyone can now go as far as this game. This is now precedent. And it's why it becomes interesting to talk about this. It's why whenever Square talks about AI, we all go, you've got a lot of sway. You'll set a precedent. And
yeah,
if you are allowed to lay off any amount of artists because you don't need them because you can gen all of this, that will be the way forward for the entire industry. And that goes back to the moral stuff. If people are just allowed to gen anyone's artwork, we're gonna see a big problem to that. So a lot of this is going to come down to how is this regulated. I want this game to
yeah,
succeed
it's
so bad for so many reasons, but I also want this game to crater if this is like yeah, this
ends
ends
up
up
being
being
true.
the case.
Yeah, it's very disheartening, like especially for people like us that know artists. And artists, we know, some of us know artists, like some of you listeners out there might know artists that want to work in the
Mhm.
video game industry or this industry like this, and they're losing out on their dreams or on jobs because the company has a computer that can do it.
And if this
they hire
becomes the way
someone.
with traditional art, it'll
It
inevitably become the way with sound, which is my domain, and now you're attacking me. Hold on now. I do voiceover and I do sound. This is a problem. I do not want to be next.
I'm somebody who's considered multiple times looking and learning and going to school for art, for games, and working in that industry because I have a great love for art. So it's like, this is in my playing field of. So if I wanted to do that and I went through with the schooling and got the degree and got the education and all of the repertoire and portfolio and everything, I could be one of these people that's losing out a job to a computer, to AI. So it's a very sore subject. And again, like we've said before, it's not confirmed. We don't know if it's true. It may not be true. This may all be designed by someone. Very, very possible. And also, as we stated before, AI is inherently not a bad thing.
Correct. And again, that has to be stressed because you can say one thing and someone will take it another way. It is a tool. The tool is fine if it's used correctly, but it has to be used correctly.
Look, I can take that fork I had used to eat my dinner and it just as easily stab somebody with a fork.
Yeah.
Like, it's the tool. It's how it's used. It all comes back to the people involved in it. Are the people scummy? Or are they good people? Or, well, I won't say are they good people. Are they decent people?
The other thing to talk about is that this game is so insanely unoriginal. It seems original, but it's really not. Because, as you've no doubt noticed, all we have done is compared it to other games 1-to-1. The designs of the monsters, well, those are just Pokemon. The crafting system, that is literally just Ark.
I don't
the art style, isn't
think
that...
that's a bad thing.
In some ways, the UI
Well, no,
very
I
hard.
don't necessarily think this is bad, right? Steal from what
Exactly.
works. But it does tell me a lot about the people making it. If the most original thing you've done is give the Pokemon a gun...
Sorry, guy.
I mean... So I'm saying...
That's fair. That's a good point.
Again, I fucking love this game, but it is entirely unoriginal. It just does what it does really good, because it stole from the correct people. Which is what you're supposed to do.
I mean, that's what Yoshi P did with 14.
Yeah,
he played World of Warcraft Miss Pandaria.
No, it's not. No, 14 has so many unique things about it. That's the difference.
But like back then, was it
even in 2.0 it did?
Was it 2.0 or 3.0? That he when was
2.0? 2.0. He brought it back from 1.0. 14's always had enough unique things about it. I don't think Palworld has anything unique about it other than the cute fuzzy creatures have a gun.
And there is a difference between very heavily inspired
and straight
ripping.
Like, people look at the Palworld stuff and they see Ark. They know it immediately.
Yeah, like I was saying, the UI is very much Ark. Like, and some other survival style games, like I can't tell you how many of them have that very same, like, almost perfectly same thermometer thing down in the corner with the hot, it's too hot to too cold where you are.
It's not even survival anymore. That made it into Zelda.
Yeah, that made it into Zelda.
Does have teleports?
Go ahead.
Like teleporting stones. Because I was just going to say, it's just fucking Genshin Impact, like the teleporting stones, like, let's be real.
Yeah, kind of, actually.
If they do have teleports in Ark, it's not something that's base there in the world. You have to build them and make them all.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
So, but that's if they have it. I don't remember. Like I said, it's been a long time since I played Ark. I have had a re-interest with the Unreal Engine 5
I bet.
version, but I'm just like, I don't want to spend $45 on this. I'll wait. There's a lot of other games I could get in place and that I would like to play.
Sure.
So, but yeah, like it's and even in those games that do take heavy inspiration, they'll put their own twist, their own design, their own touch, something like that. The problem with this instance is like even where they take their own twists and own designs and put their own spin on it. In this case, like you want to say they put their own touch, spin, whatever on Arc. The touch and spin they put on it is the heavy Pokemon thing, and it's like the same way if you flip it. If they wanted to do their own Pokemon thing, they did Arc. So it's like it's a little bit more questionable because every like improvement or their own touch they did to something that they took inspiration from was just something else they took inspiration from and kind of just meshed them together. Some people will say, that's not a big deal. That's
I don't think that's a big deal. Like, how many fucking games is there in the
world? But you say this, but they couldn't at least dress it differently. It had to be so identifiable that literally everyone knew from a screenshot.
You're right about that, but like, I'm just at this current time with its current patch, I agree. But like, is there a possibility that they are actually going to change and twist and turn for
not if we don't complain about it.
Potentially, but yeah, if we don't complain about it, it's not as
why would you? Like, why would you? If no one's willing to say anything about it, why would you fix it? The squeaky wheel gets the oil.
I will say for this, I'm in the middle ground here. I get Nat's point because it's true. There's so many games out there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So many. Like there are
I'm
probably
not talking about just PC. I'm talking about all games.
There are probably some games that come out that may have blatantly ripped something from another game, and nobody would know it because they blatantly ripped it from a smaller time game.
Right.
I don't know why every time you say that, I just immediately think of like Persona fans pissing and crying themselves when they find out that SMT exists. Like, I don't know why. That's
poor information right there. Those people are just very poorly informed. let's be real, because Persona is originally at its core SMT, and it is a branch off of that series. But there's a lot of modern fans that don't know that.
So that's why I feel like laughing to myself, because I just think of that. I'm like,
but to that, to Nat's point, yeah, I get it. There's so many games out there. It's in some aspects when you are, I'll say a smaller company because this isn't a huge company. It's.
Do we know the actual employments or the
I don't offhand, but I could find that. I do not think that information is hidden.
Right. Because I want to say 6, but I don't feel like that's correct. I don't know where I'm getting 6 from.
It is a smaller company by all.
Oh, for sure.
I think it's not indie size. I don't think.
Yeah.
It's not that small, but it is.
Oh, so it's like in the middle.
Right. I think, but it is a smaller company, and
they're big enough that they want to work on 2 games simultaneously. They have 2. They have 2 different teams working on 2 different.
Exactly
games.
right, and they're both And they're both early access.
Yes. Craftopia has not left early access yet.
Okay.
So it's
interesting.
It's especially for a smaller company like this. There's so many things out there. It's hard to really be upset if there is some things that seem blatantly ripped. I hold this more towards the Arc side of things than I do the the Pokemon side of things. That one's kind of weird. That's the direction they went, but at the same time, it is what created this unique game that is theirs. So I don't know, but yeah, I'm firmly in the middle ground here, where I'm like, I get Nat's point. There's so many things out there. It's a smaller company. They have lesser resources. Some of those resources might be freely available in Unreal Engine 5.
I would expect that they are, yeah.
Especially considering,
or just
especially
cheaply.
Considering Arc has a new version in Unreal Engine 5, so
so they can use Unreal Engine.
Yeah, so who's to say?
But obviously, probably make their own, but the option is available to them.
So, but I also get like the point of the other side of it. So I'm like, yeah, I'm in the middle.
I should point out, this is not a big thing. Like, literally all I am asking them to do is copy my homework, but don't make it look like you did.
It could use a few things to kind of make it appear more of its own, for
Yeah,
sure. I
and
agree.
I suspect that it will. Again, I know the immediate defense on this is it's in early access, guys. They're going to change it. I've played MMOs. I know that we can never allow the devs to just go on faith. If we do not
Yeah, you
say
got it.
something,
Right.
it will not change if it works. So this is
Yeah.
me being very vocal and saying, I see you stole my homework. I need you to change it up a bit. Just new UIs. Just make them
This is
slightly
fine.
different.
Just 2
Some new
pixels for every
UIs.
mon.
No,
Just change
it's
the
not
UI.
even the mons. Like, for me, it does come down to the UI and a lot of the elements. Like,
Oh, really?
I shouldn't look at this and be able to say this is an arc skin. Like,
Yeah,
like Craftopia
right.
had another issue where it
Okay,
looked
yeah,
like
yeah,
Breath
yeah.
of the Wild. And admittedly, that was just aesthetic. I never played it, so I can't say. And obviously, it's not the same genre. But, like, you gotta do something that's unique. Otherwise, people are gonna call you a knockoff. Or worst case scenario, they'll call you out on being a knockoff.
And here's another issue with that, though.
Mm.
Is people can call it a knockoff, but the game is still doing incredible.
Yes, and again, I started with this. I'm going to end with this. It's going to be a nice compliment sandwich. I really like this game. It has stolen all of the correct things and put it together in a casserole that is delightful. I am going to
Using
put
stolen might be a bit strong because we don't know for sure.
It has
But
it has taken these ideas and put them together in ways that work really well. Whether they are stolen or not, they have put it together in a
Legally
package.
distinct.
I'm so tired of hearing that over the last couple of days. It doesn't pass the
Fair.
squint test. It's not legally distinct. You've taken all these established ideas and you've put them together in a delightful package. It is, like I said before, affordable and fun. And frankly, that's amazing.
Agreed.
I just
Yeah,
really need some of the worst aspects of this to be proven that I'm full of shit. I have never wanted to be wrong about a game so fucking badly.
Yeah,
No, I take it back. I wanted to be
agreed
so
there.
wrong about Metal Gear Survive, and I wasn't. But this is the other game that I want to be really wrong about.
Ooh.
Like, actually make me wrong. I would delight in this fact.
That is also even though I've been very silent last half, I'm kind of in agreement. Like, I just want confirmation
That's it.
whether or not he did use AI or not. I just want confirmation so we can get this over and done with.
Yeah, and go back to just enjoying the game without feeling awful.
Yep.
It's
literally all I want. I
so
just want
good.
confirmation. That's what everyone wants. Just
yeah,
confirmation.
and like it's a very enjoyable game. Clearly, people enjoy it. Over 1 million active players on Steam.
5 million.
That's a huge
copies
milestone for
sold
people who
at
don't
this
know.
current moment.
That is a huge milestone.
that's insane.
Yeah. It's just crazy. And it would be nice to just look at the game, play the game, and enjoy the game, and not have all these things kind of weighing over it.
Yeah.
But like I was gonna say is it's doing so well, and in some instances it may be doing better than some things it stole from. Ark is a huge game, does really well, but Ark didn't have such
it
instantaneous
didn't hit the right
success
audiences. Yeah.
It didn't. It's true.
that this did. Yeah, this is like Ark is a huge game now.
For
Don't
sure.
get me wrong. I don't know that Ark has ever seen 1 million active
I don't think it
players.
Even with Coco being like the spearhead of that game for a bit when she was in Hololive.
Yeah, it's important to point out, like, all of these issues are only issues because this game is doing well. Like, I will go ahead and hit a counter argument immediately. No, I wouldn't give a shit if this game was going to fail. I wouldn't. But because this game is going to do well, there is nothing that can be done about that right now. I care.
It's not a matter of going to do well. It is doing well.
It's done well. Like, yeah, you can't stop it. The cat is out of the bag. Now, the reason why all of these issues matter to me is because precedents are going to be set, and I care about those precedents. This could have been any game. I care about what the long-standing ramifications of the decisions made during the development of this game will have on the industry going forward. That's it. Am I going to play the game? Fuck yeah. Am I going to feel bad about playing the game? Fuck yeah. But am I going to do it? Yeah.
Same.
I kind of want to bring something up. It does involve AI and it does involve gameplay, but
Sure.
So procedurally generation, you guys know what that is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You should know, Matt, because you play fucking Warframe.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I answered in my head. I forgot I didn't say
it. Right. What are your thoughts on AI doing procedurally generation environments with a question mark, but like more so inside caves rather than actually like open world?
Doesn't matter. My information is the same for all of them. It's fine. An artist had to make the assets that are then procedurally generated.
Yeah.
Don't care.
In that instance,
it's fantastic.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That tool is being used correctly.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I want to know. Because I've actually thought about it like yesterday. I'm just like, would like AI like actually helping instead of stealing? Would that
there's a bunch of super helpful
good?
AI. Yeah. AI as a boogeyman is not real. Because AI can't do anything.
Yeah, no, John Wick has that.
So in that regard, procedurally generating is something that some games have been doing for a long while now.
Oh yeah.
And this was even before AI was a thing on the scene. But the thing that was doing that procedurally generating was what you would call
and machines.
Well, it was what you would call an early version of an AI, because it is just a type. It's just coding. You coded it to generate something like that.
It just rolls numbers and puts whatever number is.
And then AI is, at the end of the day, just a very advanced piece of code.
Yeah, it's a hyper advanced version of that.
Like, as somebody who took coding classes, it's like they already were doing that, so it's not a huge difference. The only difference like the AI brings to the field is, one, it might be able to do it a little bit smoother because the coding is a little bit more advanced, and two, it, depending on how you code it, it can take assets from the things it's using to generate and create some new things that weren't originally a part of the pool. And in that regard, it's like we said earlier, you're not stealing from anybody. You're just taking what you already have and like rearranging pieces. So it's not.
That's like just a little bit like a follow-up question.
Sure.
Like procedurally generation, generally when people do this stuff, right, they code it, they program it and all that shit, right? But it's usually like between like 1 and like 10, and then like, as you said, it rolls the number, and then that's when you get the set, the stage, the environment, whatever, yada yada.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But what if a game has real-time AI that can generate a dungeon, but like the pool for the generation is like in the hundreds of thousands of ways it can create this environment?
Still seems fine.
It still seems on par with what we said.
Like, again, so long as the assets that it is putting into the world are like
like
from the
I'm
company,
like, I'm not
it's
saying
fine.
like the
As long as the pool is something that somebody made specifically for the pool or whatever, then
But I don't even care if they made it, as long as they bought the rights to it, as long as it legally is correct that it's there. Yeah, I don't give a shit.
That's also
just make sure that the people got paid for it, and it's not just like out and out theft. That's literally all I care about.
Right. Okay. Yep. That's all I want to say.
Yep.
Were there any other controversies to tackle there, Dalit?
No, it's really just those two.
Fucking journos being brain dead. We can talk about that.
So funny enough, yes, we can talk about that because it's been handled horrendously.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna need some enlightenment on this one. I wasn't expecting this.
there was some idiot that's like, he was like Peter pilled and be like, man, fucking animal cruelty in Palworld, and it's like, where's the animal cruelty?
Oh, we're talking about two
Like,
different things. Okay.
oh, what are you guys talking about?
Okay, well, hold on. Don't you guys? I have no idea about either of these. You both caught me off guard.
The PETA crowd, and there's really the people against, or people for the ethical treatment of animals crowd in a digital environment like this is ridiculous.
Yes,
It's the same people that have the issues with Pokemon.
Pokemon Black and Blue.
But this is brand new and not as big, so they have a little bit more voice to them.
True. Like, if you're not going to get up in arms about people shooting people in video games, I don't want to hear about animals. These are not real things that are not happening in a not real space. Don't care.
Thank you. Thank you.
To be fair, about 10 years ago, no, a little more than that, 13 years ago, people were up in arms
and
about
they
people
and they
shooting people.
couldn't make it stick.
They were wrong. They were wrong, but Grand Theft Auto made this huge debacle that we all lived through that was insanely infuriating to live through with video games.
It happened in 5. I'm sure it happened in 4. I missed it if it happened in 4, but I'm sure it did. And it absolutely happened in 3.
It's happened
Oh my God.
It's happened with every Grand Theft Auto game to release to date.
Its name is Grand Theft Auto. It's literally about doing crime.
It literally, but it's the game that these people use as the driver
100%.
for that argument, and it's just left a sour taste.
No,
in my
like,
mouth
yeah,
for
for
that
sure.
series. But that's a different thing entirely. But yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Like, you know, they would say this more vocally about Pokemon. Pokemon is such a huge thing that they don't get much voice to it because it's just promptly ignored.
But for some reason, like when it comes to Pokemon, they're the ones that put like the most effort into it, because Peter fucking made Pokemon Black and Blue. And obviously Nintendo was like, I'm gonna fucking shut that shit down immediately. So yeah,
I don't get it. Like, again, not real things being hurt in a not real space. I don't get it.
To be fair, PETA made I think it was PETA or these same people, whatever, made a huge argument when Assassin's Creed 4 could come out and you could whale
oh god,
or whatever
yeah.
it was in it. And it's like this is a series that at this time, it kind of loses that a little bit as the series progresses. Was one of its things it's praised for is its historical accuracy.
Which, yeah, whale hunting was absolutely real.
100% something that happened at that point in time and was to an extent pretty normal. It's just an aspect of the game. Don't lose your head over it. It's a game. It's not like we're actually going out and killing animals, making animals fight. Now there are people out there that are terrible people that do these things.
Yeah, but they're not getting this
exactly
idea from a
right.
game is the problem.
They're not getting this idea from a game. They're doing it for
They're doing it because they figure they know other stupid people that would want to do this and they can make a buck off.
Yeah, they didn't play fucking
That's what it
Pokemon
is.
Red and be like, oh my god, I'm gonna just like go out and just kill fucking lizards and birds and shit. Like, no. It's so dumb.
Yeah, I've never understood this.
Yeah, those people, those arguments have been around for a long while, and it's just
we have to live through a different version of this every year. There's always something.
I've never understood it. Never understood it with Pokemon, and didn't understand it with other games. Don't understand it with this. I'm like, it's a game. Nobody's actually getting hurt. It's like you see violence in movies and all these other things.
I mean, same thing with Diablo as well. The whole fucking Christian thing.
I don't know.
My god, Grand Theft Auto made someone go out and shoot someone. Okay, they did, but all of the James Bond movies are fine. All of these war movies are fine. All of these action thrillers, they've never caught. Okay, cool. Good to see that we're picking and choosing.
100%. A lot of the times it's because the people have an issue with that medium or something like that, and they just have it out for
it's
that.
Dumb.
So in terms of what you read, yeah. Now, Dolly, what did you read?
So,
because you had something different.
The journalists are just trying to pit two audiences against each other. I have seen three or four different Pokemon fans are coming down really hard against Palworld. Palworld fans vehemently defend themselves against Pokemon. I was like, Jesus Christ. Look, I do understand that there are some people that are so in love with Nintendo that they just immediately go to bat for Pokemon. And there are some people that hate Nintendo so much they immediately shit on it. But let's not pretend like that is the main thing happening here. Like that has any bearing on what's
No.
happening in this game. Like that is some internet
yeah.
Twitter drama that is only happening
Twitter
there.
hate.
The fact that anyone is reporting on it is disgusting when there are so many other
Twitter
things you could talk
hate.
about in the industry, in this game, in this moment. It's been weird. The coverage of this game has been weird.
I've seen it. I've seen so many people, even just watching Twitch streams. I'll see random people come into Twitch
Yeah, and just
chat to
yeah.
try and stir up trouble. Bad idea with the streamers I watch because they're all big streamers and have very on point
trying to
mods.
stir up shit.
But they come in and try and stir up crap about how can you play this? It's just ripped off Pokemon. Blah 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 blah. Or it's all they are ripping off Pokemon. And we've said it before a few times already. So disregarding the AI issue that is not confirmed, don't know that. Disregarding the like blatant ripping of like an idea or whatever. It's a game. All right? Like to be fair, the Pokemon fans or the Digimon fans, whichever one came first, had issue with the other fan base when the other one first showed up.
I'll
Because
give
like
you.
you're ripping
I
off,
will
you're
give
ripping off
you.
us.
I will give you a better
God.
version of all of this because Digimon and Pokemon hit mainstream at about the same
Yes.
time.
Because they both had
Do you
animes.
know what predates? Do you know what predates both of them?
SMT?
Mega 10, get on my level. Hell,
What's that?
even Dragon
Yes.
Quest had this before.
Yep.
True.
But like Shin Megami
Sure.
Tensei, Mega 10
SMT.
came first, and the whole idea of Mega 10 is just
Yep.
Pokemon with demons. So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it. I certainly don't want to see reporting
Oh,
on
God.
it.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, look, the Pokemon fanatics out there, I love you all. For many, many years I was a Pokemon fanatic. Let people enjoy what they enjoy. If you don't enjoy it, if it's against your beloved worship of Pokemon, then don't engage with it. If the content creator you watch wants to engage with it, don't rain on their parade. Go watch a different content creator while that one's enjoying it. Like,
Or go outside and touch grass. Because there's grass Pokemon out there.
yeah, or go play Pokemon Go. Go outside, touch grass, play Pokemon Go. You know what? There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, both of you brought up like things that I didn't expect you to bring up because there is one thing I've seen and I feel like it's mostly been joking, but there has been a part of me that is skeptical, and I think I have seen some people who haven't been taking it as a joke.
Sure.
Like, okay, chill, and that's the like slavery aspect of it.
Okay.
Yeah, did you know work slave is a natural ability?
Yeah.
It's
Yep. Sure is.
Yeah.
it's just kind of like, okay, hold on, I need y'all to chill for a second. What?
Like, guys,
Yeah.
guys, no, stop. Don't
I'm like,
don't do it. Don't fall for the bait.
It's a game. I've never heard that issue come up with Pokemon. And maybe it did when Pokemon was brand new. I don't know. But I've seen so many people.
Wait. Okay. We all talked at once. All right. So can you repeat that again? That Pokemon slavery wasn't a thing.
No,
As
it
in,
wasn't.
Wasn't.
I said I don't think.
No, it has.
I don't think it was when it first came out. I don't think that was a problem. People brought up with it.
No, because it was
I
all
have
around
no memory of it.
dogfighting, right?
Yeah,
That's-
because,
it's-
like,
it's
was all on the
that's
animal
been
side
like
of
an
things.
old topic.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, that's been like an old topic, but
But
since the fact that we capture Pokemon and use them to battle in the game, it's like automatically like slavery.
never heard
or
that.
just Animal
It's
cruelty.
Never
it's
heard that.
always
Yeah.
been
That's been
dogfighting.
old, bro.
It has never been
always been the
slavery.
Well, dogfighting,
It's
yeah.
always been the
Always
animal
animal
fighting,
cruelty. Yeah.
They probably lumped a couple of topics together, but I'm pretty sure slavery was part of like this overall fucking thing that they trying to like conglomerate and like be like
I've never heard it,
Pokemon
bro.
bad.
I'll be honest, I've
I've
also
never
missed
heard
this.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm saying I've never heard it.
And the only reason it's coming up for this game is because you have actual work lines. That's it.
Yeah, it's like for the most part, you've never brought this up with Pokemon. To two of our knowledges, I mean, we could be wrong.
Maybe,
we
yeah.
both
I'm
admit,
not perfect.
we could both be wrong. So this might be a victory in Nats, and I wouldn't be surprised if Nats right. To be completely honest, with people bringing up
this was like an
issues-
old topic. This might not be like a current new thing with like Scarlet and Violet.
No, I'm
and,
referring
Choco.
to original Pokemon. I've
Yep, red
never
and
seen
blue.
it as a problem or issue.
Oh yeah, no, I think that was
Never caught it.
around there. It was either Gen 1 or 3. That's when like they brought it up. It's like, oh, okay, you fucking idiots.
I don't know, but it's like, are you really bringing this up with what is in a lot of ways basically a Pokemon game where it's a game, they're animals. It's just like, I don't get it. I'm sorry. I don't get it. I can't even like words it properly. It just doesn't.
It's just people being ridiculous. Like, this is...
It's people being ridiculous. Now, I know there is a thing where you can actually catch people in the game.
You can.
Yes.
I'm
That's
100% certain that is a coding bug.
No, I don't
No,
think it is.
but-
No,
I think it's a coding
no.
bug, but they were just like, you know what? That's funny. Let it stay.
No, I think it's purposeful because there's a
think- yeah, I think
particular
it's intentional.
NPC in this game that makes me think.
Oh, yeah.
this.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's what's his name from Fear and Hunger?
It's the Black Marketeer.
That cat. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Well-
I do not think that at any point this was a bug. I think someone had a very
Cat, that's his
dark
name.
sense of humor that thought, hey, but what if these spheres weren't picky?
Well, bravo
Mm.
to that person for having a dark sense of humor and being willing to roll with it.
Yeah, it's Pocket Cat, but in not Pokemon.
Yeah,
It's
I
great.
it's
It's-
whatever.
You
I
don't
wonder
you
if the
don't
devs have played
have
Fear and Hunger.
you don't have to have 2 brain cells to know slavery is bad.
100%.
Like,
Oh,
and this is a game. Like, they're not the game's not trying to preach to you slavery. What? Why do I just it's one of those things that you like you
Yeah.
Dolly, you were saying with the issue you had journalists talking about.
Yeah,
And then with the Pokemon or with the animal cruelty, the PETA thing.
they're sensationalizing what is very, very presently an incredibly hot topic that it will get clicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rage, the hate
Yeah,
baiting.
this is quite literally, it's God, I hate to say this is why people fucking hate journalists.
Yeah.
Jono hate.
Like there's a difference between news and the 24-hour fucking news cycle.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. That it's for all the different controversies the game already has around it with the AI and the ripping off, and people want to
Right.
stack more on top of it. It's wild.
I mean, the real issue here is that they don't want to report on anything else because this is currently the topic that will
Yeah,
get
this
you
is the hot
clicks.
topic.
There's plenty to talk about the industry for. There's a
oh for
bunch.
sure.
But
Yeah.
no one's going to click on it because right now everyone's so hyper focused.
There's a tons of like people in the industry that are losing jobs, and you don't see a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
people talking
By
about
the
that.
way, hey, we lost 10,000 jobs in the industry last year, and we're already up to like 3 or 4 this year, and we're not even out of January yet.
Oh, man, what
Yeah.
a year.
It's and people want to report on little things like this that I'm going to call dumb, not because the core concept of those things is dumb, but because in this context they are dumb.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's just all this say Palworld.
Great game.
We love the game.
God, I really like
it is a really fun game, but man,
really
things
like
are
it.
wild around this game in the positive and the negative. So
It's
Yeah,
literal
true,
chaos.
true, actually.
it's It is a game that is setting records.
Oh yeah.
That's the only way to describe it. Honestly, it is setting records and setting itself. I feel like it is setting itself a firm place in this cycle of years. Like when you look back on the 2020s, it's gonna be like that's the year. That's the Palworld years.
Well,
It
I
might
don't know about
very
that.
well be.
Maybe.
Depending on
Uh,
what it does, if it continues, if it refines this well enough, it stays relevant.
That's
It
what I'm
could.
hoping, that they will actually continue to put effort into this game, actual effort.
Yeah, I would love to see this game do well and the negative accusations be proven false,
Mhm.
and there is no guilt with enjoying this game anymore. It is just a good
Yeah,
game to enjoy that continues to get good development.
that'd be lovely. My fingers are crossed.
My fingers, toes, and legs are crossed, man. I'm just like, do it. Do it.
So yeah.
Anything else we
Anything
want to add on
else
Power
about
World? Man, me and Nat, we're on the same brain wavelength there.
bro? Host is taking over my words. I don't like it.
Same wavelength, man. That's why we're in this together, guys. We're on the same wavelength.
Actually, true though.
Uh, I. I'm trying to think because I feel like there's like a tiny.
I mean, we'll no doubt talk about this game again. We are
Yeah.
what 3
Yeah,
days
we're only a
into
few days
its
into its existence.
existence.
We'll
Oh
come
yeah,
back
no,
to this game
absolutely.
for sure because eventually we're
Yeah.
going to get some kind of information
Mhm.
one way or another on these allegations. I would
Yeah,
assume.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, who's to say we won't have an episode where we just talk about survival games as a whole? Yeah, and it'll definitely come up then. So we will update you all on our takes, information, and thoughts on Palworld the next time it comes up. Eventually, you can look forward to that because I'm not going to tell you when because we don't know, but you'll know when we know, obviously. But all right, well, thank you as always, everyone, for listening and hanging out with us here. Do please like the podcast, share the podcast with your friends, get the word out, and yeah, if you have something you want us to talk about and want to submit that to us, you can use the hashtag AskCRP over on Twitter. We keep our eyes there looking for interesting topics or something to talk about, or just questions or whatnot, and we'll take some of those and use them for a future episode maybe. If you have your own thoughts to the conversation you want to leave, you can do it in the comment section down below on YouTube, or you can add us over on Twitter at Celestia Radio PD. And as always, we appreciate each and every one of you, and we will see you all in the next one.
Take care, everyone.
Be good now.
Peace.
Peace.